Today's... Jesus, it's horrible. Come on. Okay. Today is Tuesday, June the 9th. As far as weird shit goes, this is pretty fucking shit. Stop. Today is Tuesday, June the 9th, 2026. I have just learned about Mall World. Yesterday, I put out episode 8 of Undeniable, called How Could You Ever Prove You're Psychic? And then later that day, I found out about Mall World. There is a user named Titonica who has drawn a very detailed map of the place I go to in my dreams. Like the movie theater. Like it's the the thing that is impossible is not that that many people are dreaming about a mall. That's fine. Lots of people, that doesn't mean anything. Lots of people dreaming about a mall means nothing. If lots of people are dreaming about a mall and they can map it out and say, this store is here and this store is here and the escalator's here and the movie theater is over here and the bookstore is here. If a group of people who have never met each other can do that, that's proof of psychic power. Like something is happening. It needs to be investigated. And there needs to be a school in a safe space where people can investigate this. Michael Murphy started Esalen. I'm supposed to be starting the Labyrinth, a place where us, human beings, can deal with this stuff and learn and communicate with the others. That's what I'm supposed to be dealing with. But because of racism, because a number of people on here are okay with racism, that's really what's holding all of this shit up. All of the technological advancements that we could be having are being held back by racism. All the ideas are being given to people that the patriarchy won't listen to. So, I'm just going to keep doing my thing. And, I mean, I hope eventually they stop being fucking racist. Because it's ridiculous at this point. I am trying to create thousands of jobs by transforming the city of Windsor into the new Las Vegas. I am trying to start a school to study psychic abilities and bring in investors, which will again create more jobs. But all the people are doing is saying, poor Joe is dealing with racism, and then ignore me. They ignore everything else I say because they are convinced all I'm talking about is racism. This is going to look hilarious at some point when people realize what the fuck is happening. But right now it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. It's kind of like if you have companies coming over and your kids have left a big mess everywhere and you've asked them to clean up and they won't. So when the guests come, everything's still a mess. It took a lot for me to acknowledge that systemic racism was happening. It took more evidence for me to acknowledge that the others are real and are trying to help. But I can't control people's responses. All I can do is document. So again, I'm documenting that today is Tuesday, June the 9th. I have just discovered Mall World. Okay, so here's my crazy thoughts. I'm sitting here watching a video on Tyler Henry talking with that DJ Qualis, DJ Qualis, I think that's his name, or DJ Qualls. I've always thought he was super cute. And in this video he looks cuter than ever. I think he just has better makeup on, or he's had skin done or something, but I definitely have a type, and that's it. Anyway, but that's actually kind of the point, is I was watching this video of this DJ Qualls, and back up, there we go. And I was thinking about how he has certain facial features that are similar to my boyfriend, and how it's like, there's certain characteristics that I find over and over again, iterations, and it's like, I'm kind of getting this thought that, maybe it's the math of humanity. We're all just iterations of each other. And I was having this thought, like, I was trying to think of, like, how is it that psychic powers work? How is it that Tyler Henry can do the things he can do? Which I've seen enough, or watched enough of his videos that it seems to me that he can do what he can do again. And again, as someone who has had experiences himself, like, I know that it's possible to sense things that other people don't. Like, how though? And at first I was thinking maybe it was an olfactory thing. Maybe it's our noses. Maybe we can just smell evil and things like that. But what people like Tyler Henry can do, it's so specific. So, like, it's not just a nose thing. So I was sitting there thinking about the universe as a simulation, like in the Matrix movies. And what if that's what it is? It's just, at the beginning there was one person and it just kept splitting. If you want to be Adam and Eve, it doesn't really matter. I think just the concept, there was one person and that person split and kept splitting. And it was just one person keeps splitting over and over again. Till eventually, like, it's a fractal image. And I think that's how I'm seeing humanity. Humanity is not binary, it's a fractal image. It's like that picture of God. That's, if you want to see the picture of God, look at the entirety of humanity. That would be the picture of God, which, it sounds like something a crazy person would say, but I think it also aligns with spirituality, with all spiritual teaching. Like, all of us are God. Every single human being is a brother or sister. We're all, not even like that thought of we're all connected. We're all iterations of each other. Just different, slightly, sometimes vastly different variations of one thing. And I'm watching this video of Tyler Henry talking to DJ Qualls. How can he know the things that he knows? And it's like, well, because everyone is the same. Tyler Henry is just able to connect with different iterations. Like, I think that feels right. And I think the channeling thing is, it's just, you are giving a different iteration of God position of your body for a moment. But maybe not different iteration of God, different iteration of humanity. And it's just, if we think of humanity as the picture, because again, saying things like this, again, I always worry that I sound like a crazy person saying things like this, because I don't have the qualifications to be educated, to say that, well, based on my education, blah, blah, blah. Because I worry too much. You know what? I worry too much, because I don't give a shit if people think I'm crazy. This is what it looks like. The math seems to make sense, right? Science tells us that time does not really exist the way we think it does. Our physical senses only see what they are physically capable of. We don't really see the world. We see the portions of physical reality that are necessary for us to survive. and like in the Course of Miracles, that would be the concept that everything we see has no meaning except for what we give to it. Okay, well, if that's the spiritual side of it, the physics side of it would be, I'm looking right now at walls, but this is not really a wall. Like I see what my brain tells me I need to see so that I can survive. It is very possible and really creepy, but there could be things around that my brain decided I don't need to see. Because of that, they could be right there and I won't see them. Now, you may go to, that you're not talking about aliens or the Oods. I think that's the Oods, right, from Doctor Who. No, but it could be little bugs, mites. There could be very well be like little bugs flying all over this room that my brain has looked at them and says, you don't need to know about them, they're no danger. And because my brain does not perceive them as a danger, I no longer see them. Like, some of that could be like a cognitive thing, but some of it could be like a biological thing, and that's the scarier part. Like, what if our actual biology prevents us from understanding our physical reality? And this is a thought that it sounds like a thought that I'm having just at this moment, but it's a thought that I've had for a very long time. It's at the core of my first book, Council of Peacocks. That whole book, not whole book, but one of the key concepts of that book, there's a secret organization that wants to change the physiology of humanity to force evolution so that they can, they can't do certain things until they evolve their body. So it's the forced evolution of the human body. It's one of the core concepts of that book. Partly because I love the X-Men and, kind of agree with Magneto sometimes, but forcing humanity to evolve. But also there's a book called, I think it's called The Evolution of the Human Body by a guy named Michael Joseph Murphy. And it was a book on research about how the physiology of the human body. And again, that's always had me thinking about iterations. Like, how is it that this guy named Michael Joseph Murphy devoted his life to the same thing that I have devoted my life to? Michael Joseph Murphy, yes. Now, did I do that because I read that book as a teenager and that instilled something in me? Was that a core memory? Again, that could be a cognitive issue. Is there something about names? Is it names that created the future for me? Because I think about that too. I think a lot about my personality. Michael Joseph Murphy. I looked up what that name meant. Beloved. Michael, I had this kids book. Name of this book of kids' names. And Michael, my beloved. So there's always a part of me that felt like people would love me. How did that affect my personality? Like, again, that's setting me up to be liked, right? Joseph, protector of man. I've always felt this standing up to bullies thing because, again, I was protector of man. So it's like, was my personality given to me by my parents? Because it kind of feels like it. I was told, like, this is who you are. So I can see why maybe we should be letting kids name themselves. Because a kid would know who they are, right? Maybe we shouldn't be naming kids like we name puppies. And I think I see why other cultures do that. Other cultures would let you choose your name after a certain age once you know who you are. I've never really think a lot about our personality. I didn't really until I lost it. I really think that's what I don't know if I ever would have had these thoughts if it wasn't for getting long COVID. If it wasn't for COVID and just losing my mind, I don't know if I ever would have really got it.
Again, I've read a lot of spiritual books, probably more than the average. I'll say that I've read more spiritual books than the average person for sure. I've read Gary Zukav's books on spirituality and on, physics, and I enjoyed both of them. Like 20 years ago, and so I had that understanding, but I didn't get it until recently. I'm just watching this video I remember very clearly watching Tyler Henry on a Netflix, he had a Netflix special, and I remember thinking very clearly, it's like, you know what, I would love a boyfriend like that, that looked kind of like that. He was like really beautiful, but he's way too young for me. So if I can get something like that by about 20, like in his almost 40, would be great. And I remember thinking it'd be so cool to have a psychic boyfriend close to 40. And then Michael showed up. Like, it's when shit like that happens, I can't just explain that with math. And I don't know, it's... My intuition right now is saying you think too much, questioning the miracle, and it's sometimes, maybe it is something a little simple like that. Sometimes when you send out energy, it comes back. And it's because of, maybe it's because of God, or maybe it's feedback. Like when you are positive, people respond to you differently. And it's a slight butterfly effect, right? Because again, it's the math. And the more I think about humanity on a spectrum, I think we're not a spectrum. I think humanity's fractal. Feedback loop. All slightly different variations of God. Different variations of God talking to each other all day long, kissing each other, making love to each other, killing each other, in a constant battle to understand itself, to understand why life exists, and just to exist and be beautiful. Okay, so for Alien Brain Fog, the documentary, documentary is called Chaos Theory and the Science of Intelligent Design. Double check that, that's what it's called. Documentary, Chaos Theory and the Science of Intelligent Design. Okay, so it's called Chaos Theory, the Science Behind the Miracle of Intelligent Design, of Intelligent Life. And that's with Professor Jim Al-Khalili. I have to research him. Anyway, it was this documentary about Alan Turing's work with Anthropomorphous. What was the name of Alan Turing's work on abnormal evolution? Look at his thing. I'm on his morphogenesis. So Alan Turing's work on morphogenesis and about how simple systems create complex designs. And I started thinking about humanity and relationships and personality, and how our personalities are really just feedback. It's we are out in the world and we have certain innate coding, and we come into the world and we have an event and we have feedback, and the feedback to that event creates our personality. small changes over time create larger, unpredictable results. And I was thinking about marriages and how, a marriage could be 99% perfect, but if there's that 1%, over time that 1% difference will eventually make a sudden large change. And that's just math. And talk about intelligent design, and maybe there is a reason for that, and maybe it is just focused on the individual growth of the tribe, and maybe humanity really does just work like a flock of birds, and we think we're individuals. When we talk about group mind think, I think we might be more similar to that than we think, and maybe that's why so many people are easily led by assholes. The strong leader, and people are just, it's like a force of gravity, and it's that feedback that forces changes in their personality. It's like Donald Trump comes out and he's like, here is force that he's putting out to the universe, and that creates ripple effects that affects the personalities of other people. It's very humbling to realize that math can actually, our personalities and our relationships are predictable by math. In the sense that anything is predictable, because chaos theory tells us that nothing's predictable. Complex systems, even with simple rules, can create unpredictable results. And I think about, the constant evolution. I think about male and female. We're drilling down deeper and further. So maybe even if we went to the extreme of male, female, and then go down further. So then it's here's one female. Let's dig down further into another female, and keep digging down further and further and further. So eventually you get to the point what the hell is a female? I've done so many variations of female. What is female compared to male? And after so many variations, maybe that's why it's kind of impossible to classify male and female in a binary system anymore, because we're long past that. There's too many humans. Maybe we could do that if there was 12 humans. If there were 12 humans, we could say, statistically, out of these 12, these ones are male, these ones are female. Pretty close. But the more you add to the system, the harder it is to classify them in binary systems, which shouldn't be it's not a super complex system. It shouldn't be super complex to understand that. If you've got 87 rocks, you can break them down into color like this. You look at 87 rocks in front of you. These ones are white, these ones are black. Easy. Of the ones, are they closer to white or black? You separate them. You have 87 million, you can't classify them as white or black. There's too many variations. And when you see the large number of variations, you start to create different patterns. Right? So it's if there's 87, you can see, here's one pattern, here's another pattern. Simple. 87 million, you start to see different variations within the groups. And that's fractal, right? It's just, you look at this, but let's dig it down further. Instead of 87, let's take the 87 and turn them into 87 million. Dig down further. If you look at your DNA, looking at my DNA, you could look at my skin color and say, based on your skin color, you're black. Dig down further. And the further you dig down, the harder it is to classify me as black. I think that's true of most people. The further you dig down on any single person, the harder it is to classify them as anything. It's fractal. The importance of feedback for relationships, which is why gaslighting is so shitty. Because then what you're doing with gaslighting is you're giving poisonous feedback that is designed to fuck up the other person. It's feedback that is designed to hurt someone else so that you can benefit. And that feedback causes harm to the other person and shoots them off away from other potentialities. If we want real growth, we need true feedback. We want to become better persons, we need real feedback. And feedback has two means there, but I think it's kind of the same thing. In scientific terms, I'm guessing there's a sense of feedback. There's an action and a response, feedback. So in the real world, if you're feedback, You say something racist. If nobody around you comments on it, that tells you that that's an okay thing to say. You will do it again. The feedback there is like, what you've done is acceptable, do it again. If they laugh, do it even more, get even worse, more stronger. If your friends put you in your place and tell you you're being an ass, you're not likely to do it again. We need that feedback. And I think we need the feedback of a lot of people to fight back against the kind of rise of hate. And I think it makes sense that way. Like, it's scientific, right? The larger the feedback, you think of a fractal. If you're looking at a fractal and there's an explosion of energy in one area focused on one thing, the gravity for that one thing should increase because there's more energy being focused there, right? So if we have a large number of people focused on saying, hey, we're giving you the feedback, stop racism now, that big impact will affect the larger picture, feedback. If you look at the rise of fascism and do nothing, that's feedback too. And it says that you're okay with fascism, which means the system will keep going. And I think it's really that simple. That the only and the simplest way to end systemic oppression of black people is just the feedback of regular people. You stand up and say, enough. If enough people do that, it will stop. It doesn't matter how long it's been going on for. The minute enough people stand up and say, we're done. We're not doing this ever again. Change. But until that time, until enough people get off their lazy asses and stop whining about it, and I'm speaking specifically of white people who they say that they're allies, but then do absolutely nothing to stop what is happening. I know a lot of people that believe they are good, solid people that at one point in their life would have said, you know, I don't understand how the Nazis rose to power. If I'd been there, I would have spoken up. And then they watched what happened to me and said not a goddamn word. Because human beings are afraid. And we're so afraid of speaking out that the feedback from the society at large might hurt us. So because it's the fear of that feedback, they allow bad things to happen. It's all feedback, fear, chaos, and magic. Jeez. I don't think we really understand what life is.
Today is Tuesday, June the 9th, 2026. I have just discovered Mall World. It's a phenomenon that several people on social media are talking about, where they all experience the same dream. There's a user named Titonica who has drawn a very detailed map. From what it appears, it was released on November 20th of 2025. The thing that is freaky about it is I've been here. I've been to this place that she's drawn. I released a movie about my experiences going to there, and I talk about going to the mall and the place I go to at the mall and the people I talk to. And the mission that those people have given me, I mean, I talk about this stuff. That documentary was released in September, before Titonica. This is confirmation. And again, it's not confirmation bias. There's a place I go to in my dreams. This woman has drawn that place accurately. Many people have gone to this place. Someone should be looking into that, right? Like if a number of people who are sensitive are all going to the same spot at night and experiencing the same thing and talking to each other, well, I imagine that would be an intelligence nightmare. If you were a country and found out that your citizens were able to dream and you couldn't do a thing about it, that would be terrifying. Because what this means is if it's possible for people to go to the same dream space at night and share similar, maybe identical experiences. Remote viewing is possible. Psychic powers are possible. It is impossible to keep a secret. Can't do it. Because someone would have to do is go to a dream space like this and tell everyone. Like if there are a number of people going to this space, it won't be very hard for them to coordinate with each other and start talking with each other and sharing secrets. And there's nothing that anyone can do about that at all. That must be terrifying for governments. Some information should not be shared. And that's why we have secrets. Anyway. I think I've got it all out. This was really freaky. Seeing that someone has drawn an accurate map of my dreams is weird, but useful. Because now I have a map and I can find my way around. What's happening now is the beginning. And again, for the people that work for the province that are still harassing me because of racism. Boy, did you pick the wrong person. Because they're here. For real.